Hello, people. Hi. I wonder if I can comment in here. Let me see if you can do that. How do you do that? Hang on. Before I add anything, I want to chat because this is really... comment. Okay, let me see if I can comment. I want to tag a girl that asked some very good questions on my page, actually. Even though I'm tired. Let me see. See if that will work now. I don't know if it will anyway. Don't think it worked. All right, there's a lovely girl that asked some very good questions, and I'm just, like everybody else at the moment, I am buggered today. I am buggered. Shouldn't say I am, because then I'm attaching to that, I'm saying, you know what I mean? Then you're attaching to that energy or emotion, of course you are going to be. So but it's for the benefit of everybody else, I'm going to put my foot in it, put it that way. Because if you attach, it's all about non-attachment, not attaching to the energy or emotion or whatever, because you're choosing it. Focus. So if you say I'm tired, well, you're going to be. You see, because you're attaching to the frequency, energy of tired or whatever. Never mind. Anyway, I'm quite flawed at the moment. Today, well, you can have these as I shared. I thought it was amusing. I shared a funny one for you on my page today. I just thought that was quite appropriate. You got to laugh. Laughter is fantastic for the energy and anyway, frequency. But oh hell yeah, we're up. It's some really, really intense energy is hitting the planet. At the moment, I can feel it. I can feel right now, actually. So there's a new just come in because I've got a pressure around my head. I can feel like tingling in my body. My cells at the moment are starting to do it again. They're starting to tingle. The body's going. So I can feel my cells being vibrated. Pressure on the head. The electromagnetic, you know it. So I know there's incoming energy increase around me. It's just, oh well, whatever. Anyway. So I'm feeling, I did some very interesting clearing today in my meditation this morning. I dragged myself out of bed. I'm like, so like everybody, your sleeping pattern's up. Be easy on yourself. Okay, we're going to go into it, but non-judgment. It's not, the whole point is not to judge anything. Not to attach anything as good or bad, or that's me, I feel, I'm tired, I'm this. Is non-attachment. Is to see everything as energy. Oh, I'm just feeling energies today, not negative energies, heavy energies, dense. No, energies. Oh, let me let the energies. Then we'll say in our mind the energies will flow freely. It's time. It's learning. It takes time. Oh boy, we all, as I'm saying, this is the greatest shift on the planet, the Great Awakening, and it's a blind leading the blind. Take note. Hello. I can only tell you what I know, and I'm learning. You know, this is all, we've all been shot into this thing, you know, with diddly squat. And I knew diddly squat what was happening to me. I literally, you know, was terrified when I had my Kundalini activation. Well, you ask, what you get is what you see. So I did ask. Anyway, I was intending to go. So I was granted that option if you want to leave with the body, and I was like, no, it wasn't really. You know, that rainbow body thing? Oh, wow, that was a hell of an experience. Wow, anyway, never mind. I came back into my body with such a fright, thinking, oh, hell no, I'm not ready to, because I wasn't ready yet anyway. I didn't get it. I didn't understand death and any of that, whatever. All right, peoples. So there's a lovely lady who I know, hopefully it works. I don't think so, I'm not sure. I tagged her in this comment, if she's even online, I don't know, who was on my page and asked a very good question, because everybody's tired and they're waking up and no one's got the guru, because most people are following like TikTok, other people, YouTube, the pull movement or whatever, the awakening, whatever it is, and they are just also the same. They're only telling you what they know and where they are. So we have to go out and seek the information. You've got to go and find it. So if you really want to know, because if you're following people on here, they're here, no better than you are, you know what I mean? So they haven't got that to the top, haven't reached Mahasamadhi, you know, where they're true, but they're called true enlightenment, the thing. And there's very few people, Buddhas and gurus, that have got that, you know, that have actually got to that level. It's not something people attain very easily on the planet. Wow. So Well, you didn't used to in the old days, in the old energy. I think at the moment everyone's popping off their Kundalini awakenings, and most people don't even realize, because it's different in different people, what the hell's happening to them. Their third eye's opening, they're having Kundalini activations. As you notice, it's chaos out there, right? So, like everybody else, I went through the same thing. What the hell is going on? Because I had no clue when I had my Kundalini awakening, and there was no way as you could miss it. I mean, that energy, wow, it was powerful. It was hectic. She was. So as I said, I hit the rainbow body thing. I became this massively fast spinning vortex. My body was going like this at such a speed, and like I was in a whirlpool in my lounge on the cushion. I can't explain it. It's the weirdest thing. You're sitting like this in your body. Anyway, boof, and I saw these rainbow colors, and I thought, hell no. Because I thought I was going to go through my ceiling, well, boof, gone. Body and all. Because I had seen a few documentaries where the Buddhas had done this. They just found that's it. They disappeared. They actually left with their physical vessel. Yeah, sorry, my friend. I know. This is why I feel sorry. I'm making videos to tell people. So this is part of what you're going through, is really the death of the ego, the dark night of the soul. This is what the planet is going through right now. Wow. And it takes a long time. It's not a quick process, people. People think, the dark night of the soul, I'm just going to do a few meditations and, it's like a few things I release. And no, it can go on for years. So the dark night of the soul, the death of the ego, depending on the person, is a very slow process. If you are aware of it or not, if your Kundalini is activated or not, whatever, it is a slow process, and depending on you, what you're seeking. So you're going to get tired, you're going to get emotional. This is what I'm saying. This is part of it. You don't know what's going on. You wake up, you're ecstatic, you're blissful, you're crying, you're tired, you're happy, you're this. I mean, you're all over the show, people. You go through different phases, right? It's phases. And you go through different levels of consciousness and dimensions, spaces. Wow. So it depends on you, how much effort, how much you are putting into this as well. Your beliefs, a lot. It's a lot. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's all over the place. And, it's why I say the blind leading the blind. This is why I called this video The Blind Leading the Blind, because pretty much it is. We are trying to help each other through this chaos. So there was a girl, it's like saying, people are asking, how do I raise my frequency? How do I do this? And you think you're going to stay on this high. You're going to stay in this bliss state, right? But if you don't understand what the bliss state is, what you're even going through, then you obviously, how do you know how to maintain it? You understand? It's what it is what they call Masa Hadi. I shared on my page, okay, someone made a very good documentary, but probably one of the best documentaries. This is something the government should be telling people to watch, and they would know what the hell is going on with them then, really. Because a lot of people are going through this and not even doing yoga or anything, and they don't know what's happening to them. It's so sad. So these are all phases. These are stages of raising. Your consciousness is raising. Kundalini, it's just, anyway. So this is what's happening. So I shared the film. It's called Samadhi. Somebody made a documentary called Samadhi. It's in 3 parts, 3 videos, and you can find it for free on YouTube. If you go and Google, that will give you, if you don't have a clue about this, the levels of consciousness, enlightenment, that goes into very good detail to explain, okay, what you actually end up achieving. Most people are on their way there that you are following, oh wow, it's crazy out there. It is crazy. So you go through this up, down, highs, lows, emotional, because it's purging, healing, and energies moving through you. You see. So you're aware of it, but it's what's happening to your physical vessel and everything. You're going to go through this. I mean, at the moment, I'm having fun today. So you're going through it. Your body, everything, all of it, your conscious, is raising in frequency and vibration. So you're shifting. It's called the great shift, the great awakening, the reset, whatever you want to call it. Humanity is being reset, shifted, kicked up, awakening, great awakening, spiritual awakening, whatever you want to name it. That's what you're going through, because the entire planet has been hit by this photonic plasma light, which is higher frequency and things. It changes your DNA, it upgrades you, and this is scientifically known. Huh? The sun is changing your DNA, factually. It actually unlocks, it seems to activate it, unlocks more of the DNA. So it's opening up anyway, this is what we call, so, but not in a negative way, in a positive way. So you're all raising. This is why it's why it doesn't sound positive, because people that don't understand, you're seeing the chaos outside, right? And they look at that. That's why it's called the death of the ego. Everybody is projecting. So when you start waking up the ego, it's being triggered. The ego is now paranoia. It's like the hall of mirrors. The ego is fear, paranoia, delusion, this and that. Oh, blah, blah. The ego, that's what it starts you on a hunt. You see, and this is why everything's out to get us. Whether it's an ET or this or that, you're looking for... This is because no one understands what's happening to them. You're looking for the darkness, the bad guys, the this and that. You're rising out of the cave. You're rising out of this survival. We were in the primitive way of consciousness. It's survival. You see, and fear. That's the ego. Fight, survive, battle. Whoa, what's good? What's going to be? You're looking for the. This is it. You don't realize it's. It's in you. It's what it is all in us. Actually, completely. It's a death of the ego. And what you're looking for, you haven't fully accepted yourself. There's no darkness. And until you accept the dark, because everything is part of the universe, it's all one. There is no separation. Everything is all part of creation. Creation doesn't reject half of itself, but half the planet is trying to do that because they're not understanding. They're having their awakening, they're going in themselves, and this is this one, and this one told me. Blah, blah, blah. So we got to start looking outside. If you start following this and start looking for the real content, Samadhi's lectures, I'll share some I've watched some very good videos and documentaries which gave me so much insight. I was like, oh wow. To the different phases, the death of the ego, the dropping off, the whole, what's happening to you. You're going to go through. So you understand, not like me, who almost went through the ceiling and I was terrified, people. I didn't have a clue what was happening to me. Not a freaking clue. I had to go find it out. I was so scared to meditate again because I thought I was going to ascend with my physical body. I was too scared to meditate. I thought, oh my God, no, I'm not going to go to heaven now. This is me. So this is what's happening out there. Everybody is projecting because they're not understanding what they're seeing in their astral. They're seeing this and that planet and those beings and I've been there and this and that, whatever, and even what those things mean, everything. So everybody we can only share. They're sharing their stories of what they've seen. As you go through your level of consciousness, you're going to be able to come up to that information, and then you go to the next notch up, and you'll get. So this is how, as you keep going up, you will get more and more different levels and sharing. But pretty much nobody really knows what the heck is going on, and up and down. So everyone's seeking to raise their frequency or dimension. The simple thing is we don't understand. I was trying to answer this girl, so there's no ways I could answer her in a video. I'm tired, I can't stay positive all the time. Of course not, because we're attaching. There's already one mistake. There's no positive and no negative. You see? You decide. If you call that negative, that positive, the universal source doesn't see that. There's no positive, there's no negative, there's no good, there's no bad. Light and dark, you can't project them. This is the thing. We are all connected. Everything is part. It's not you. Otherwise, saying, "Oh, the grass, we're not, fine." But this is what humans are trying to do. That's the human thing. You see, so it's the darkness. Hey, fighting the dark, fighting the dark. You're fighting yourself, actually. That's all you're fighting, really. But you've got to. If you're trying to chase it away, make peace and accept it. All your bad parts, darkness, your things those hidden nasty thoughts, whatever. And same with that. Everything is non-attachment and non-judgment. So when you say I, that's still the ego. I am sad. I don't like you. You are, if you get offended, if you get angry, that's the ego. So the more you listen to people that explain that, the more you will see it. Oh, then you'll understand when you're doing it. And if you don't want to stay tired, you've got to stay present. And this is what the Buddhists do. Why do you think they practice chanting and meditating for years? And they go sit in a space in a box for years. It's to teach your mind to be quiet. Any thoughts that come up, right? If you have any thoughts and thinking, when you're looking for the dark, looking for this, your mind, that's the mind again. You're identifying again with the mind, the ego. You see, Spirit source, non-attached. When you go, people that meditate, when they go into the astral quiet, they sit quietly. When they're thinking, I'm asking and this and that, go, I want to go see this, I want to go. No, quiet, dead, no thoughts, nothing. You get in that deep trance state. You're not even control. There's no thought. You can't think, actually. You're out. You're not even in this sort of thing. Your mind is just doof, and you're gone. That's it. That state. Right. When the mind is completely quiet and you actually transcend out of the thoughts in the mind, that is when you will never be tired. If that's why they say, live in the present. There's only now. Be now. So this is why they teach you if you go on Buddha retreats. That will be a useful practice for people to do. They wash the dishes. They say, because you've got to learn even that. To be present, enjoy washing it. Your focus, so your mind's not thinking. A good one is Eckhart Tolle. There's many people that try and teach people that you can understand that what your mind is doing. You don't even realize your mind is constantly talking, back thinking, this, that. It's busy. This is why humanity don't live long, and most of us get tired. We need to sleep because our soul's like, hell, bloody hell, that's it. The soul doesn't, but the body does, because it's exhausted. It's used all your energy. When you step out of the mind and you're in that state of no mind, bliss, you're in that energy, with your higher self, source, whatever you are, where you say, you feel that, you see that light, right? The light, whatever you see. It is complete peace and bliss. Complete peace and bliss. It's to get used to that. But how many people can get their addiction off social media, off their tablet, off this truth seeker movement, this one, that one? Oh, because that's the mind, that's the ego. It wants constant stimulation. I want to know what's going on. I want to see that. I want to follow that ET. And what did she, all this kind of thing. So we follow those people. There's some very good lectures on YouTube for free. I watched a few of them that explain this whole process until the highest level, how people actually leave. That's what they achieve. They actually leave their physical body. They reach that level, even at 30, that's it. You can leave your body. You've reached what they call samadhi enlightenment, and you don't need to be in a physical body anymore. So most of the panic, because of what's going on, the ego is death. This is why you are panicking, because your ego is panicking. It's dying. It knows you're going through the death of the ego. Me, my. And the ego just wants to defend itself. That's the one. Oh no, there's survival. Oh, that's the one that's kept you alive, the physical vessel alive. And it's like you've got to go and educate yourselves on those, right? So that you will understand the process and what's happening and why it does this. And you can recognize when you're doing it. Oh, the mind goes again. Oh, that's ego. And you've got to try, the more you practice it, staying in the actual present moment, no thought. And as soon as the mind starts, okay, that's the ego again. But when we're trying to, like this, I'm tired. Resist. If you try, even if you start with yourself, you're getting angry with yourself or irritated. You don't want to be tired. You're not accepting. It's all about complete acceptance. Complete acceptance. Oh, so like this morning I woke up and I was like, oh hell. And then what does your mind say? I'm tired. No. And then I thought, no. You see, change the script. That's interesting. Heavy energies. I didn't even mention them. So heavy energies are moving through me. You recognize them. This is what we're going to try and do. But it's always not to attach. You see, because that's what the universe source God hasn't got a language. Doesn't understand no resistance. You focus and attach or pay to that energy or that thought or that feeling. Oh, okay. You have now put that into your energy field. This is why you got to do yourself a lot of research, people, and you will not find it on TikTok and on YouTube or here. Any of these people, you're not going to find it. And in the Truth Seeker movement, the Red Pill movement, you're not going to find the real information, actually, the truth. It's going to help you. That's non-bias. So the whole idea is for us to get out of the mind into non-attachment, and then you want to see your frequency rise. Hell, you're going to rise. You're going to have trouble staying in a body on the planet. And you will walk around like some weirdo. I mean, you are in such bliss. You are in such, I can't describe it. You are when you get into that state, and if you can stay there for a while, it is freaking awesome. You are not tired. You don't have problems waking. You don't have problems sleeping. You have problems with nothing. And you're not in the mind at all. Because it's constantly you practicing to stay out of the mind. You are so freaking happy. People think you're on drugs. I'm not joking. During the pandemic, I was walking around like, I mean, people ask me, they'd look at you and like smiling, what's wrong with you? Why are you so happy all the time? What's going on with you? Because really you are in such a state of bliss and high. Nothing, the ego's not there anymore. You don't even get triggered. No one can upset you. Nothing they do, no projection. You are completely, you realize, you see it. It's to get there. Some people get up and they fall down very quickly. You see, the I am. It's yeah. Because then you're going to go now. So you get up in that stage and you can bless your food, do this, do your things. You are purely, I mean, you're trying your hardest to clean yourself, to send out good energy, do this, do that, bless your water, increase your food, exercise, your yoga, you're doing walking, whatever you're doing, right? All of this, you're following it, say you're trying. You're following it on 100%. I'm doing the organic diet. I'm eating fruit and vegetables. I'm blessing my food, putting energy in it. I'm meditating. I'm doing my yoga. I'm doing deep breathing. Man, I was so high, people, I can't tell you. And I never listened to any of this bollocks that was going on the social media. I only listened to high frequency music. So there was not feeding. So, remember, because all you're doing is entertaining the ego. The mind is busy. There's a very difference. That's knowledge is the ego. Intelligence or wisdom is the higher self. So when you're watching too much social media, anything, right, in content, this and that, what are you doing? Your mind is so used to being, you see, busy. It's to get your mind out of being busy. And what they've done is done it for such a long time that it doesn't get busy anymore, that they can stay in that. And they practice. They get up every morning, bloody first thing of the light, and they meditate and they chant and they do this. It takes a lot of work and discipline, you see. Yeah. I did that. I was doing that and meditating, and I was on my own as well. I stayed on my own. And everyone was locked up anyway, running around or frightened or whatever. I didn't even know what was going on out in the world. I wasn't one bit worried. I was in the astral realm. I was up every morning. I tell you, the happiness and the bliss and the state you're in is incredible. Life is so freaking awesome. You everything you appreciate. You are so tuned in and tapped into the all, the one, in that place of oneness with the entire universe that, my gosh, you wake up, you just sit there and stare at the sunset. You love the sunset. You get up, you go for a walk, you're in nature. I mean, you're greeting the trees, you're loving this, you're sending that, you're asking the stone if you consider it. You are so connected, so in that state of unity, bliss. You get back, you yoga, you breathe. I mean, you meditate, poof, your mind, you don't have to even sit for 2 seconds because you are immediately so relaxed inside of the mind. You would astral like that. I close my eyes, I could sit in my chair, and I would have a problem staying in the body. It's a poof, and I'd be gone. I mean, I was all over the place. I mean, bloody hell, everywhere. But happiness, bliss, I mean, you emanate light and love. I mean, it just pours out of you. And then you're sitting and you're sending it out there as well. So remember, what you give out is what you get back too. So I was meditating and I was sending out light and love and calm to everybody, because at that stage in 2019, people were frightened of dying and scared of the illness, and they're all locked up. So I was trying to send happiness and peace and calm out to the world, to people. So I was sitting in my home and I was purposely sending out, focusing and sending out plasma, sending out love, peace, calm to people, so they wouldn't be frightened, they'd be happy, they would, with this whole thing going through, they wouldn't. Man, I was in such a high for such a long time. I saw them, the weirdest thing I experienced was actually walking through the matrix, what they call the holographic universe. I mean, as a hologram. Maybe because I'd heard about it, so I wanted to see it, right? And I did. I remember walking back all the way home. It was like so funky. And I'm walking all the way home through the streets and houses, and everything is not... It's literally like walking through a virtual reality game. It was like you walking through a virtual reality game, a hologram. You realize it wasn't like... It was funky. Funky. Yeah. No, any of that nonsense. You don't need to do any of that. But that's what I say. There's none of that. I mean, so there's all these kind of things, right? People don't realize it. If you don't go and educate yourself and start reading, and that's what I did. I wasn't sure. I mean, I got through these different levels because you're meditating. So I was seeing things and I didn't have a clue. besides my friends, what we call other light workers on Facebook. So those are the only people that I knew, and I was asking, like everybody else, are you asking other light workers and following them and what's going on, and they doing this, and I saw that. So all I can tell you is it looks like you go through different levels of things you start seeing, right? So everyone's gone through the fighting of the dark, what they call the fighting of the dark, which is probably the first thing. So you face your demons. That's how they will come across. Your ego is a great one, and it's probably the worst to interpret energies. So whatever your fears are that you most frightened of, those things are going to be shown to you in a way that you understand, and they come. So it depends on what, they can be very frightening people. You are so it's difficult to understand, but you understand what you're going through. So then, however you see it, you see, so it'll be angels and demons, and you're fighting them. Of course, now we don't know. So you think you've got to fight the dark, you see. I think so. Oh, well, you'll get there eventually. Eventually, a long time. Some people, depends, they won't. Depends if they don't seek the knowledge, you see, they don't. So you'll be fighting for a while, and then fighting in these dimensions and whatever you're doing, you're doing your thing. There's many different levels. I can't even remember. I think I did mention some of them. After I gave up fighting, I didn't want to fight. I just wanted peace anyway. All you want is peace. You're so sick of fighting. That's such a human thing. That's human. It's ego. If it's to do with fighting, it's ego still. It's still the ego. You're still the death. You're still going through the death of the ego, because the ego is the one that wants to fight, and there's a dark and a good and a bad, and it's not at all. It's not the case, you see. Everything is accepted. Nothing, anything you focus on and think, oh, that's bad. You don't accept. You don't say, okay, well, that's free. That's fine. You just see it. You don't attach. You don't put any good or bad in it. Okay, it's all valid, but it's not for me. Thank you. I don't choose that. I don't, that's it. It won't be. But the more you say that's bad, the more you're going to keep it in your existence. It's very difficult. So you've got to go and search that information, people. But the up and down is us. It's the mind. You'll get very, very tired. Okay, besides the energies, because you're doing the purging and healing. Because you've got to get rid of that stuff. So you're going to, if it's stuff in you, you're going to come down, because you're going to have to see it. It's always for your highest good. So what you're going to call the Kundalini energy, the source, myself, is working through your stuff. So you've got to go through the whole process. So it's going to pull up all this stuff. You see? And then you'll get cruising again, and then, the next one comes in. All right, now another time to do. Because obviously, otherwise, you've got to be able to cope. It's not going to just hammer you the whole. Could you imagine 2 years of absolute, you'd never get out of your house? You'd be exhausted, and you go through all of this. So you're going to go up, and you're going to go down, and you're going to do this, and you're going to learn, and you're going to have your thing, you've got to have a life as well. So it's not supposed to be misery, but it's part of your healing, learning, purging, and going through these different levels of consciousness. And every being is different. Some don't seek to go up there. Some, it's not their charm, it's not their choice. Some have come to play the dark, want to experience there. It's so... For those that are trying to just understand where they are, the frequency and vibration, all of these things. So your thoughts, if you don't want to stay there, don't think of anything. Don't label or attach anything. I am tired. That's the ego. Then you've just said, I'm tired. And that's it. So you've not claimed, I'm tired. So tired is that energy is going to stay with you. You see. So try not to see, and no energy is bad, that's negative, that's dark, that's upset, whatever. No. Ooh, okay. It's emotions are just energy in motion. We call them bad and dark. Some of them feel a lot heavier. That's, yes, for sure. They're on the lower scale. They're denser energies. That's why people say the dark, dense. So you want to move away from the heavier energies, which are the, sad, the ones that don't make you feel good, right? Do you know why they're there? It's another scale. That's a scale to know. When you're not in alignment with your higher self or your inner being, if you're moving away from what your soul, because now you're the ego, the person, you think right, I'm Susan, but I have the real aspect of me is above this human mind and judgment and hate and all this nonsense. The real soul, the higher self, the inner being, however you choose, right? That's how you gauge if you're off course from your inner being, your soul, your higher self. Because when you start feeling any negative thought or emotion, any negativity, like you feel bad about a thought or angry or hate, anything, that's showing you your higher self, God's source, inner being, does not agree with you. You are not in alignment. That's why you feel negative. The more you move away from your source, the source, God, inner universe, whatever you want to say, the more you move away from source, the worse you will feel. So if you are thinking something and it feels negative and you feel shitty negative, you've got resistance to what your higher self or soul, whatever inner being feels. You're not in agreement. You're thinking something negative. It doesn't serve you, or it's a bad thought, or your judgment. Because remember, we are all one. Source knows. So you are judging, oh, he's an arsehole, I hate them, this and that. What you are doing is separation. Source doesn't do that. We are all one. We cannot hate or chuck out any of them. It is a choice by that soul. Even if if the soul wants to go down a dark path, it's that soul's choice. This is a whole idea of free will. We have free choice in everything. And there's no good or bad. There has to be, there's what you want to call contrast. You call duality, light, dark, whatever nonsense you want to call it. It's actually contrast, right? So this is what we have. Think of it as a menu. How are you going to know? People say, I want to go to higher frequency. How would you ever know what a high frequency is if there's not the opposite? You see, this is a whole part of us as souls. We are out here and we can feel. So now you feel, oh, I don't like that energy. Yeah, that negative. Why? No, nor did your soul. So it's like, okay, it's not for you. That's how you can say it. So what? You don't want it. Now you made a choice. So you're going to choose something better. You can go to a higher frequency. But if there was no choice, how could we choose? What's the point of having free will? So all it is, what you call negative, bad, dark, dense, this, that, positive, light, is choice. Every soul has a choice. Think of it as a menu, right? So you choose off that. It's like, how would you know what love is if there was never any loss, sadness? You wouldn't know what it feels like if you can't compare it. You see, a lot of people have no clue what love feels like if they've never been in absolute love. But then if you lose it, let me tell you, you'll know that as well. The prophets tell you that lovely book. So this is where the human thing is the hate, the judgment. That's ego. It's fear. And what you're doing is just making it harder for yourself, because that you are not accepting all of you. The universe does. Then you are judging a part of source, the universe, whatever. And it's yourself. You are not wanting to accept your shit, actually. Your bad habits. What you see, because you also see them as bad. The universe doesn't. But maybe you've got a bitchy streak in you. Maybe you've got a judgmental streak in criticizing or whatever it is, you see. So now we have labeled them bad, so you want to hide those. No, I'm trying to be nice. You're trying to suppressing the part of you that you don't want to accept. You're trying to suppress your whatever dark side, your hidden fantasies, your sexual, whatever it is, who knows, whatever it is, right? Because, you or society have labeled them as bad. You will continue to be unhappy and project out and search and wanting to fight the dark and wish it away until you've accepted everything, even in the astral. What you will think of those other aspects darker. You could call all your fractals or aspects of you back. Just energies, souls. And you've got to love them all. Dark, however they come in, dark or not, and you've got to accept them all. You see? Till you can, so whatever you reject in yourself out there is the same thing. You're rejecting a part of you, of God, of source. The universe doesn't do that. You aren't going to feel good either. So basically use your emotions as a gauge. Your emotions are a gauge to know that you're moving away from what you want to call the light, right? Source, the light, the divine, your higher self, your whatever. That's your gauge. Anything, energy that makes you feel bad, tired, this and that, not happy, irritated, anything like that, that is your barometer to say you are out of alignment. Because we know when we tuned in to our higher self or source, oh my hell, you don't feel any of those energies, people. You know that. There is just unbelievable love, acceptance, and bliss. There's not even a word to describe it. Bliss. That's why they call it bliss. It's peace. It's contentment. It's happiness. It's acceptance. It's everything. Man, and you do. You literally walk. You don't. It's like gravity doesn't affect you. It's like, hello, the gravity is not there. What happened? I'm losing my gravity. Ooh. You see? That's how high you get. Because if you stay out of that, non-judgment, non-hate, non-the mind for such a long time, your frequency will get so damn high, people. So high. Because you are that means you are closer and closer to your true self. So any thought or feeling or you're watching that makes you feel angry, irritated, stressed, fear, those, oops, okay. And you can feel it, like you say, you get in that good energy, wow, you know, you're more in alignment, whatever you're thinking and feeling, as you go towards that, your higher self is getting more and more excited, yeah, happier. Your happiness, your frequency, your dimensional gauge, whatever, goes up. That means whatever you're doing and thinking is in alignment with Source, the divine, or higher self, the universe, whatever you want to say. You'll know. But it's us, it's our fears. So when you start like doubting yourself now, so now you start thinking of something you really want to do, man, you get so excited and you like, oh. But then, of course, the little voice comes in, the ego. Oh, no, you know, they probably won't like you. You probably won't get the job or this and that. And what do you start feeling? That fear, doubt, tightness, resistance. Because that is not in alignment with your higher self. Your higher self doesn't feel that. It knows you. You literally have the universe. Think of your inner being, your source, as holding your hand. All you have to do is ask. Nothing will be denied to you. So that's why when you think, oh, no, I can't do that, your soul knows it's bullshit. It knows you can have what you want. If you don't doubt it and believe it, you just say, it's mine, and you put it out there and you just know it's going to come to you. It will come to you. Blow your socks off. You'll manifest whatever. But then you've also got to stop. You're not going to manifest things if you are sitting out there and calling these people bad and evil, and this is bad, and that's good, and this is not, and I'm that, whatever, any of those things, you see. Because whatever you're thinking and feeling and projecting out there, you see, it comes back, that energy. So if it's negative things, you're perpetuating more negative energy, more negative thoughts, and then you will go down. It doesn't matter. They'll say, okay, well, maybe you want to learn that. The universe doesn't judge. You can go down that path and go down and hate and go wherever you want. That's what I'm saying. Whatever you decide to focus on, or even reject and say no, it is going to stick in your existence and reality. That's why people don't understand. Look what's going on out there. Oh, but look what's happening in the world. Well, it's you. You saying, whatever, freaking out. I don't want this. I don't want that. Fighting with this and that. The more you see, they don't understand. There is no, I don't want. There's no, there's no good, nothing. It's simple. Oh, okay. You don't attach to that energy. You don't say, there we are, don't want. Oh, I want that, yes. What you give your energy and focus on is what you will get. Simple. So if you are now focusing on that energy and, I believe that, or I want that, you've immediately accepted it. So whether it is pain, whatever your focus, it will be in your reality because you've now taken on that energy. I learned something really interesting today about that, frequency. So if you've really chosen to believe something, you've got to work that belief out of your system. It's not that easy because it's so deep rooted in you to get that belief out. See, it's meant to be built up. But it's fascinating because what I saw was that it's a frequency and vibration. All it is for us saying, okay, I'm identifying with, let's say, illness. Because we did. Most of us, we identified. That's the frequency and vibration we were in, right? And consciousness. We were in that consciousness and very slow. So we were, we told this is illness and you can get illness. So we identified, completely took it on as a belief, so we will get ill. And they'll tell you in the new earth and when humans are going, there will be no, even Dolores Cannon tells you, there won't be illness. Why? Because our consciousness raises enough to realize we have chosen to identify and take on that thing as ours and belief. But if you say, no, I don't identify with it, it's not a reality, I do not believe it, I do not want to hold that frequency and vibration in my being, in my experience, it doesn't exist, you will not experience any, funky as it sounds. But at that level of consciousness, we are, no, that's not possible. Doubt, you see, because we've got to get to the point where we realize, and that's what I'm saying, stop following people on TikTok and new light workers and people like that. Start listening, going back to listen to, I followed many different people. I was guided because I wanted to understand the highest level of consciousness. I wanted to know what was happening to me half the time anyway. when I got this lotus flower thing, I didn't even know what it was mean. I was asking light workers, what the hell? I got this lovely flower, this gift, and I didn't know what the flower was about and everything. So my friend who's a light worker also hasn't a freaking clue. She's Christian, she's from America, she hasn't a clue. She's never studied any of these things in Buddhism or anything. So being a light worker, being, very much Christian, whatever, she tapped in with her, reading or whatever, and she said, oh no, that was a gift. You reached a certain stage, or you reached something in it's like your spiritual path, that was a gift. So because let me explain. And I didn't know, and I was asking people, because I didn't know anything about lotus flowers and what the lotus flower meant and any of this shit, right? So I'm sitting in meditation and I'm working through like everybody else in their shit, but not focusing on this nonsense. I was guided a while to go off the negativity and this red pill movement. I was warned. I just knew something was wrong. Something wasn't. Said to me, that's very negative. It's hate. Just something said to me, stop it. Pull out of this. Something wasn't right there, and I stopped watching all of that stuff. I'm very glad I did anyway. But I was sitting at home and I'm meditating the one day, because we've all, I say, lots of these stages you go to, and you get these gifts in the astral and you don't know what they mean, because we didn't go. We haven't had a guru, like a real, guru telling us like what's going on. So I was sitting there and this beautiful lotus flower, multicolored lotus flower, appeared like in my astral and it came down through my head. And and then you're sitting on it. So I'm sitting on this, comes down, and you're basically sitting on this beautiful multicolored, very nice flower. And I'm like, oh, that's nice, thank you, like everything else I got in the astral. I was like, oh yeah, that's lovely, thanks very much, thinking to my source, the angels, whatever, because that's where I was, and I was like, oh, that's nice, thank you, and I just accepted it. But so I asked my friends on Facebook, hey, do you know what this is? No, I don't know, whatever else. And my friend then tapped in, and to her, whatever she was doing back then, she was doing, what's this thing? Oh, dowsing or whatever, I don't know, tarot readings, whatever. And she said, oh no, that's a gift. You reached a certain, it was like a spiritual, like you got past a certain thing. So I was like, oh, okay. And that's where I left it, you see. So I tried to find out. And that's when I went on, and I found some videos on YouTube. If you seek as well, if you're actually wanting your higher self, your soul, your source knows. If you're wanting that information, really wanting it, not like, yeah, sort of, you've got a split vibration or frequency or intent or feeling about it. It's actually about feeling, it's not intent. You won't find it. But my path was I wanted to reach the highest level of consciousness, and I wanted to know, the samadhi thing, I wanted to do that thing, send out the body. I wanted to get there. End of story. Where they say you find the liberation you find the liberation in this body, which I really had, but anyway, I didn't know. I just carried on. I just wanted to get there, whatever, enlightenment, whatever they called it. So I started searching on YouTube, and I found many videos, very good lectures about this, about Mahasamadhi, which is the highest, which is enlightenment. When these people reach this story, whatever. But they don't tell you a lot, because they don't want people doing it, because it's very dangerous. You don't know what you're doing. You see, I'm not surprised. And none of us know this either. It's very dangerous, because that amount of energy, you will leave your body. People die because they don't know how to manage it. It is massive. When you got that, you open up all those chakras, that highest chakra, that energy, as what's the name says, it leaves your body. You leave your body. You can't stay here. And I literally thought I was going to leave my body. I'm not joking. After this story, and I read that, I was like, oh my gosh. So I thought, okay, well, I was going to die shortly. You see, all this. Yeah. Because this had happened. I was like, oh hell, I looked this up, and after that happens, they start like, oh, okay. Because you're sitting on this lotus thing, right? I was like, anyway, I didn't know where I was going. So I started looking up videos, and I found some very good ones. I can give you a few that I followed. Some don't resonate. You'll resonate with certain things. Depends what you're seeking, people, and your soul, and what you want to experience. Remember, everyone's different, eh? Everybody's different. Everyone has different experiences, different energies to work through, different lessons to. So I wanted to reach the highest level of consciousness, samadhi thing, right? So this is my mission. So I'll tell you what I found and I followed. So some of his stuff, because he's still in the old paradigm. Remember, this is another thing. All of these teachings that we've got from the Buddha and Yogi Sutra and all those things, yeah, very true. A lot of them are right, but they're also in an old energy and consciousness, or old paradigm, put it that way. Now, what he does say, which was quite right, is this end of times, what they talk about, is absolutely an end of times. It is an end of the old paradigm, an end of that, what they call the time of karma, the Kali Yoga, they call it. The different names for it. So everybody knows from this step forward, nobody knows we're going into an entire new paradigm. They'll all tell you that, right? Everything. So all of these things we are watching are still teachings from the old paradigm. This is the yogis, the Buddhas and all those people. It's from an old paradigm. Nobody knows. When we moved, as we've now, where we are now, nobody can tell you, because there is no set thing in stone. Because as every thought, everything we do, every energy it's instant. It's only now. That's the problem. We've moved into the timeless, into the fourth dimension. There's no time. So nothing is set in stone, because it will change depending on our consciousness, depending on what you focus on, what you manifest as a collective as well, you see. So there is none. They know that. And this is why the prophecies ended there. So you can learn enough, like at least you learn what you're going through. That was my thing. I wanted to learn what was going on in my consciousness and what the shit I was getting and seeing and getting stars. And then I got a diamond and then I got a lotus flower and whatever. I mean, you know what I mean? For me, it was like, I was like, oh, that's nice. Thank you. You know, they're giving me gifts. And I wasn't sure. I thought, okay, maybe because I was trying hard not to be, I can't remember. I was trying to work on the ego. So things I didn't want to like criticism and nasty. I was trying to clean up me. You see, anything that wasn't because you think now, which wasn't pure. It's the same thing. It's thoughts. So if you think something is wrong, you are judging it as wrong, and that's what you will experience. So we've got to be very careful not to label anything as dark, as bad, as wrong, as evil, or as anything. Because then you have chosen that. You have said, okay, well, that's wrong, so then I'm going to be punished, or that's going to, you know what I mean? Anything, people. You don't see anything as bad or wrong. And even if something happens to you in that way. Because if you accept it, you understand there's a lesson. You've got to find the good in everything. At the moment, of course, the ego is not. Everyone's waking up. They don't understand what's happening to them. They're angry. They're afraid. Everybody's wrong and they're evil. And look what's going on outside. It's blame, projection, hate, anger, fear. The humans are stepping out of the cave into the light. The cave is the survival mode. The old paradigm, the old consciousness, that dimension of thought is all survival, blame, ego, hate, this, that, fear. Oh, that's it. But it's not easy to step out of. And those that are fighting, they still refuse to exist. They don't understand. Because why? We're going among each other and this and that and following Red Pill movements, and everyone else is. Some people haven't got good intent, but that's also fine. Because as I say, there's choices. It's out there for you to choose. Are you going to follow that anger, hate, dark, this, that, those guys this nonsense? Or not? We have to have choices as beings. So we've got people pushing out this dark, they're projecting their thoughts, their belief, their whatever out. And you can choose, depending on your frequency, what you're holding in you, what game or experience and things you want to follow. So if you haven't let go of hate, fear, judgment, anger, whatever else, well, you're going to resonate with some of those and off you go. It's a lesson you're going to learn. See, what you put out is what you get back. That energy, those experiences, people with the same feelings, hate, will come in your existence. You see, you're holding that frequency. Anything you choose, you agree with, you disagree with, you judge, you hate, you push away, that's whatever you say it's bad, that's it. So literally, if you think that's why the Buddhas are clever, they don't judge anyone, they will not point fingers, they don't take sides, they don't attach to anything. It's not that they don't have feelings, and we're not saying they just, oh, well, no, they absolutely do, but they realize everything is part of the universe. If I say, that, and if I believe I do wrong or do anything, if I take sides or that's why they stay like they are. So they don't draw it to them. You see? Because if you attach to something and say, I don't like that, or I believe I'm going to be punished, or I'm going to probably get in trouble, or whatever, well, you will. Because you've just now, that's your belief, and you've taken that on, and you've now chosen that as your experience. It's like, think about it as like a shop. You're walking through the thing. Think of these emotions and thoughts as shopping. You are walking through the supermarket, and you say, oh, I hate that. And the universe goes, so there we go. Oops, you've picked up that thing. You say, I hate that. So you've taken that and you put it in your basket. That means you have taken that experience the universe doesn't know, well, and you have put it in your reality and frequency and thing, and you are holding it. You're going to get a lot of that. A lot of that same that you don't like, you are going to see out there. And you can keep saying, I hate it, and I hate it, and I hate it. And you'll just see more to hate, and more to hate, and more to hate. You're sticking yourself in. It's very difficult to explain. So I'm going to tell you what some of the people I followed, but to understand what was happening now. Because remember, but some of the energy I found is a bit, and some of your stuff did not resonate with me. When you get to a certain level, it does not resonate. But just because you're watching something doesn't mean you've got to take it on as your belief, people. So I'm tapping in, I listen. I don't want to I'm listening, but I'm not accepting it as my belief. You've got to be very clear, and that depends on what energy. If you are aware, you're not in the mind, you're able to do it. If you're in the mind, good luck. All you're doing is feeding what you call, if you want to call people call it knowledge or intelligence. It's knowledge. But the real intelligence, wisdom does not come from the mind. It comes from the higher self, from the quantum. Okay, let me show you. I'll tell you where it was. I watched some and I've shared them. So when I was doing this, I was sharing it all the time on my Facebook with people. As I was going through stuff, I was sharing it as well. So people that wanting to learn or could or not. I was sharing them with people that followed me on YouTube, because I would post some of those videos as well. They come up, I don't know how they come up in your community feed or something. So I'm trying to find it, subscriptions here. This guy that I follow, I watched some of his and I'll show you him now if I can find it for you. Let me just see. Okay, besides Abraham Hicks, but then you've got to first find out all this, you understand it. I'd go there first. So the most people don't understand what the consciousness and the levels they're going through, and what they're seeing in the astrals and the whatever else, and why you have problems and how not to. If you want to stay in a high thing, you want to stay in neutral, you want to stay happy, you want to stay connected to source, you want to stay balanced. So you stay grounded in a high frequency, non-attachment, and the world can literally fall about around you and it will not bother you. It's like I'm not joking when I say that. You literally are walking in another parallel reality. Because here's some examples. In 2019, when I was doing this, and I was on such a high, people, wow, that I remember I got a taxi. This was so funny. I was very naive, and I didn't have any guru telling me what's going on. Now, had my Kundalini, almost through the bloody ceiling story, and I'm in this incredibly high. All I'm doing is focusing and doing my meditations and yoga and walking, and I told you, I was like, wow, I was in bliss state. Very high frequency and my conscious. I was tapped in all the time. I was not in thought. I literally was always in a state, and I was constantly focusing on it like that. I was constantly making sure the mind would not stay. I was staying in the now and the now. It's like every second I was focusing on it. You see, so I worked on it really hard. But here's some examples of intent as well. So before I would go out, because then I was still working my way through the dark night, this whole death of the ego thing, the demons and nonsense anyway. So I'd put a bubble around me of light. And literally you're putting a frequency, hold a frequency, you can set whatever intent you want. That, anything in a negative thing they just don't even see. It's like they cannot see you. And I'm not joking. They will cross the road this way, or they'll leave before you leave, or it's like you walk past them, they don't notice you. That's what happens when they say you're on another dimension. Doesn't mean that it's like you will not experience whatever they're experiencing. I can't even explain it. So here's one example of how high I was, right? So I used to invite the other beings, like, my guides, other beings, to come with me. That's the level I was at, right? When I'd go shopping, to spread love and calm, to everybody, because everyone was frightened, but it was lockdown, wearing masks and all this, and they were very frightened people. So we would go around, and people would know, so they would feel that safe and love and, whatever, trying to, help people. So I would take them with me, and we'd jump in the taxi. Anyway, it was hilarious. I could see them. So I'd get in the taxi, and next minute, I'd say, and I'd put this thing, and I'd purposely intend to, where I was going, I was radiating light and love, radiating it around me. Some people would, and it works, I tell you, it bloody works. So I'd get into the taxi, this poor guy didn't know what was going on, and I can see who's with me. and I had three of them in the car. Where were they sitting now? In the back seat. I had three of them in the back seat, and I'm aware they're there. But because of the frequency and thing they exist at, it was so high that it interfered with the man's car, you know, the radio. It wouldn't work. And I was smiling at them. I was like, because he didn't understand why he couldn't get his radio to tune into any station or get the thing to work. Just would work. Because I was well aware he didn't know it was in his car, because he couldn't see them. They were not in a frequency and vibration that he was able to see where he was sitting, you see. We would go cruising to the shops, whatever else, and spreading love and, you know, light and happiness to people. I was sending it out, and I mean literally sending it out. Your hands would get hot. The middle of your hand, your palm heats up big time. So you're able to do a lot. People don't realize you. That's why I say your thoughts, what you think, what you send out. It means send out because it's a thought, hey people. If you are directing like thoughts and hate to any person on the world because someone on social media has told you that's the bad guy and he's evil and these are the... You understand? All creation goes back to source. What you are doing is putting that hate out there. And you only keep, and that energy and that thing is held within you. So everybody else that's holding that frequency and vibration, oh, you'll meet up with them easily, plenty. So everybody else you'll resonate with will have lots of hate in them, plenty. Or other experiences, or you're going to draw those, whatever you're projecting out in that person and wishing, you're going to draw that experience to you. So somebody might want to do away with you, do you understand? People don't understand this. You don't understand this. You can reach very high frequencies and things, but you have got to, it's all about you. Nothing to do with... I walked around in that supermarket. Literally, it was like people did not see me. If anyone was angry, I never had any negative experience. It was like I would disappear. Even the cameras, it was like they couldn't pick me up. They probably didn't actually, because I was in a different dimensional space of frequency. But it literally was. I mean, literally. And I would walk down the street smiling. Like, wow, it's amazing. And you would send, because your intentions were all good and pure. You were sending out love. You were wishing only good out to everybody. And you were only putting good in and da-da-da-da-da. You know, it's difficult. But it's very difficult to explain. Anyway, you can watch these people. I can go back and forth. There's so much I can talk about this, but it's very difficult. I learned a bit about what they call the end of the cycle, the ego. So this man was very good, some of his videos, for me to understand the ego, his channel, but he's got a lot of, you know, he's got his energy also is very, he's chosen to buy into the side thing in the dark as well, unfortunately, and following it, which is, you know, they can choose it, but we're not to judge them, and we're able to see it and have no... You're able to see some beings, that's what I'm saying, as much light as is going to be produced, there's going to be the equal amount of darkness. Because we have to have a balance and a choice. That's the universe. So the universe is creating the darkness for those people on planet Earth, or beings that want to go and do bad things and follow the dark and be and hate and whatever they want to do and blame and who knows what they want to do. It's a choice, you see. So that option has got to be there. Otherwise, there would be no free will, and nothing would make sense to you, because there would be no happiness because there's no sadness. There would be no good because there's no bad. There would be no joy because there's no sad. You know what I mean? No opposite. There's no joy because there'd be no sadness. You wouldn't even know what joy is. How would you say, oh, that's joy, well, that feels wonderful? Because how are you going to compare it? It's like everything. We got diversity there. What we eat, there's choices, everything. And it's us as a being you've come here to experience and choose to work your way through that. Oh, that's nice. I don't want that. That's good. But we didn't know. We were manifesting back then. We didn't know that what we thought and what we focused on and what we believed, well, you know, was actually happening. We didn't understand that. And most people still don't grasp it. No, we can't be. Yes, you are. You absolutely are. Abraham Hicks makes that very clear to understand. But this is a new paradigm. In the old paradigm, this is why we got beings that are being channeled now. They are new beings that have come to Earth to help us, to guide us into the new paradigm. all the old other prophecies and things were from the old times. You understand? Things are not that anymore. This is a new paradigm, a new energy, a new everything. So we have to learn new things. A lot of that stuff absolutely applied. But is now we reached a higher level of consciousness, dimension, and wisdom. We need to understand how this paradigm works. And this is why Abraham Hicks is here. A lot of people don't understand that. Well, that's what they're saying. Remember, some beings have chosen to play, and they're also projecting. That's the ego. Oh, that one's bad. I don't trust them. They should, whatever. So that's the ego. The ego is always scary, untrusting. That one's, that's it. That's what I'm saying. That's the old paradigm. We're coming out of the cave. Absolutely. But to understand ego, and I've got to try and find all these people. I follow quite a bit of people. I haven't cleaned up my, YouTube thing. So I've got people on, I no longer follow these channels or watch any of this stuff. But it's still there, subscribed. So it's difficult to find it now. Let me try and find them. Of course, with the algorithms, the stuff you watch more frequently is the only stuff you see now. Ram Dass, I shared some very good. I listened to a very good lecture from Ram Dass yesterday. Wow. Very good. And today about the spiritual pitfalls. About the pitfalls and the different stages you go through with spirituality. You see, because we don't know these. So we got to learn. We are coming up here. They've been through this. So we got to listen to people that have been through this. Eckhart Tolle is a great person to understand the mind or the ego. How to quieten it and what it does. But though people, because these mainstream people, depends on you, you see, because people like that, so I'm saying it's judgment again. Because you're here, you're still in the ego. You're going to, oh no, I don't like him, I don't. And depends on your frequency and resonance and your soul, your different types, your different aspects. Thank goodness. Otherwise, we would all be fighting for the same people. We'd all want the same boyfriend or the same girlfriend. So, we've got to be different in a way. So you're not all going to resonate with the same people. So Moji, is it Moji? Is a good one, Moji. And Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle describes the mind. He's very plainly, easily. How to get at the mind, what the mind does, and a constant chatter, that's it. He's a very good one to understand the ego and the mind, that constant, bloody, non-stopping, noisy mind. And you don't even realize how noisy it is. But Ram Dass gave some very good lectures, very good ones. I'm following the channel called Baba Ram Dass. Okay, I watched a lecture last night. It was very good. Wow, such an amazing talk about the different levels on the spiritual journey, which most people are only on. We're on this early level, right? Then the Institute, the one that talks about, he's what you want to call a sage. But he's done some very good talks about what we're going through. That was prophesied, the end of times. What we call the end of times, what's happening now, this disaster, which is exactly, it's mass projection, it's the death of the ego. And the ego is dying and it's projecting. So everybody and his mother out there is fighting what they're seeing out there. They don't realize it's not them. Whatever you see, oh, I hate, that's a bitch, he's a this and he's a that, is in you. And when you reach that state, if you can get past the ego and get into that level of consciousness, and when you're watching or someone comes to visit you, and you are in that, you stay, if you centered in that, you are absolutely able to see what they're projecting. And it's like, and you sit there very happily. You don't get upset. You're like, wow. Okay. While they're ranting at you and projecting, you're like, wow. And you're just in love and you just, wow. And you just love them, whatever. And it's happy. But you can see exactly what they're projecting. It's fascinating doing it. But you've got to stay there. It's work. It's discipline. It's effort. It's not easy. But you got to get up and then you come, I'll get to that one. But if you watch those and some of his lectures, you will know what the point is, the whole circle. It's like a circle. The Sat Yogi, I'm trying to find this thing now. Sorry, people. I don't know where it is now. I'm trying to find it. This guy, okay, here he is. Here it is. It's called Sat Yoga Institute, right? This man and his videos. The Sat Yoga Institute on, I don't know if you can see it. I'll try and get you one of his things you can see here. He's got some very good ones, but he's also very much, anyway, he's still stuck in the old paradigm and the old way of thinking, but that doesn't matter. Okay. He's got a beard, grey hair. So if you look up Sat Yoga Institute, SAT, he's got some very good ones describing the ego, the different phases, the death of the ego, and what he calls end of Kali Yoga, which we're going through. So this is why, the world's looking like it's falling apart, because it is people's egos. Everybody is projecting their shadow out there because they're all going through the death of the ego, the shadow. So wow, it's just, wow, hectic. And some will get stuck in that shadow and ego, or choose to, and dark, and some are going to do whatever. And then none of it's all perfect, because we, as I say, we have to offer these options for all souls to choose. All right. And depending on what you resonate. So that one, the Sat Yoga Institute, Ram Dass, has got some Baba Ram Dass, it's called that thing. Very good ones on some lectures. Wow, I listened to a fantastic lecture last night. There's other people I followed. There's another one here, Yogi, that are very good. I listened to his stuff on Masamadi. So he was explaining, because that's what I was trying to find when I got that lotus flower thing. I was trying to figure out, okay, what level, what's going to happen now, where am I? What was that thing about? What's going to happen now? So I could understand what happened to me and what level of consciousness, or what I was going through, right? Which was quite a... And Masamadi, because then I heard this thing, right? When those people reach this thing, they reach it out, they don't normally live. I watched one video, I don't know who it was. I was like, oh shit. I think it was, what's his name, Sadhguru. Somewhere I saw the thing when he said, when the people they call the lotus throne, they sit in the lotus throne. He said pretty much like 3 years later or something, they pretty much don't live for much longer. It doesn't worry me, because I'm not, I'm not worried at all. But like, I just thought, oh wow, okay, wow. So I was preparing to leave, the body, you see. That's what I'm saying. Isn't it fun when you don't have any knowledge of people? When you got to find it as you go along. This is what we're doing. The blind leading the blind. So this is what led me to look for, what happens, what's Masamadi, what happens, and also so I can prepare what to expect. Fun. I've had lots of fun. So I could really it's now honestly been thrown into the dark and trying to find my way. I'll show you now where I found these videos and who it was. I'm searching for it. Because I've got to go right back to... But Moji is a lovely one as well, to help get out of the ego. There's a Buddha that I've shared on here that you can follow. He's on TikTok. He's great. He does lots of meditations. A lot of meditations online all the time. It's really, you've got to discipline. It's you constantly being aware. Okay, here it is. It's this guy, old lectures. I found them on YouTube. Because I searched Masamadi, you see.
From wherever you are. Choose from
Swami Rama. Whether he was a good or not doesn't matter, but he knows what he's talking about. People say, oh, that one's bad, and that one's, oh, that's the same nonsense. That's ego again. You see judgment and whatever. We're not here to judge any beings. It's his choice. So it's called something, Swami Rama, and it's called Manda something. I don't know. Who knows? Don't even know what that word means. Haven't a clue. Can't even pronounce it. But this is his whole lectures he gave, some on Power of Human Mind, the story of Swami Rama. But I see there's different people shared the channel. This is a different channel. But these lectures were amazing. And he explains this and what they go through, and what's the capabilities, because they did this, that most people think they've got now. Oh, I can move a coin and I can do healing. When they reach that level, you can literally have control over physics. Do you understand? You can control physics. So they reach what they call Masamadi, become one with Source completely, but stay on earth. Stay in the body. But that's also a challenge anyway, never mind. So there's some things to learn. I followed him, the Sat Yoga Institute. I learned about the ego. I saw different videos. Eckhart Tolle. My soul guided me very nicely. So I got Eckhart Tolle's videos, and whatever. I was like, because remember, what you focus on and what you think or you really intend, if you want to know really, like you're trying to find, like I was genuinely wanting to know and searching. My inner being always gives it to me. I'm very blessed. And I will find that video. I will go on and poof, that video with that content, it comes, whether it's from Eckhart Tolle, whether it's this Ram Dass, it was Moji, it was this Sat Yogi thing. When you're ready for it, those videos pop up. Yeah, it's amazing what comes up. And then, oh, okay, about this. And then I'd learned about this Masamadhi, leaving the body, So that's why I was a little bit concerned, you see. Because I thought, okay, well, I'm going to, Anyway, I got taken off another road. So yeah, you get back because most people want to get out of here. Most people, I want to leave. They want to stay in the astral or leave or go to the planet. This is where they're at. They don't realize they haven't got there yet. It's not about leaving. It's actually about being here and loving it. Your soul didn't choose. Your soul doesn't bring you here to stay out of the body. You'll be straight back. So you get to that, and you won't want to run away from life. You won't want to leave the planet. You will love. You'll be in a line. The whole idea is to get in complete alignment with Source. You, Source, the inner being is one. And you are on earth, and you will be in such alignment, you will love earth. Your soul is experiencing the physical, the source, through you. And when you're in line with it, there's no resistance. So you're just gonna have freaking ball, and you will be deliberately manifesting. The Buddhists choose, they've in that aspect, in the old time, we were taught not. So we didn't attach, right? They know that because they don't want to draw it to them. But you're also not then deliberately manifesting. Because they were frightened if you go for, well, they know that. So if you go to joy, there's always going to be contrast, right? Because your soul's going to keep expanding. So if the higher you go in the joy, they know then the joy is going to come to an end because you've got to experience the other end. But if you experience sadness, good for you, because then you know you're going to go right up to the other end of joy. You see? But if you haven't experienced the darkest end of sadness, you're going to go, the joy is going to come, all these things. But we also didn't know, this is why Bashir and Abraham Hicks are on the planet. New information like Cryon, depending on different beings have come here, because we've got different humans, different levels of consciousness, and we're all going to choose, we've got different beliefs, remember. Everything's a choice, even your belief. That's why you got different religions too. There's no judgment. You can choose to experience and believe whatever you freaking want. You really make your own creation, because Source learns from it. It's expansive. So the more diversity, the more of you believing that there's flying apes, and this one believes there's pink spaceships, and that one believes that Jesus is coming to punish it. Whatever, you all can have it. It's going to have it all. You know what I mean? Source it's nothing. It's no judgment. Where the weary part is, as Abraham Hicks comes in, says we can deliberately, we didn't understand that, we can choose. And that's why they tell you to be careful of your thoughts and what you think. But the contrast, she says, will always be there. We must not learn to hate it like the Buddhists. We mustn't learn to see, they don't say, oh, that's horrible, I'm not. When they complain, they say suffering is grace or good. They don't see, this is, even Bashir tells you, don't see anything that happens to you as bad. Because then you are labeling it and you're keeping it in your experience. If something happens to you and it's not a good thing, okay, you don't prefer it, let's say. You're not supposed to judge. So let's say, I don't prefer that. It wasn't nice. So I don't prefer that, right? Don't focus on it. Even if it's there in your reality, you don't spend time thinking about it, focus on it. It's here, it will be moving. But if you sit on it, that's untenable, and moan about it and go on, you're holding it in your experience. This is what the Buddhists do. They don't attach emotion or anything. Just let it happen. Okay, you say so. And they'll sit there. They won't complain. They won't focus on it. You just stay in this. You stay in the moment. They don't focus on the anger, the hurt, the pain, the cry, anything. You see, that experience moves through you. Even if someone comes in your life, know that every interaction is for a reason. Everything. And if you understand that and see it, you will start recognizing, because that person will trigger you and you're like, oh wow. Instead of getting angry, you're like, oh wow, okay. That person is a blessing. They've been coming into your life to show you. They're holding a mirror and you're doing the same for them. It's an agreement. It's an interaction. So they're getting something from it. Source is putting you together for a reason to dance. You want to heal this or whatever you haven't learned, and that person needs to maybe experience this or whatever. This is why they come into your life. But we will get as the ego, oh, you are an idiot, you upset me, you did this, you did that. They won't even understand the lesson, they won't see it. And it'll keep repeating. They're holding that. That if you're like, oh wow, okay, wow, thank you for showing me. I have something to heal or clear. Sit in meditation, let it go the next day. You drop that consciously, that thing, you release that, thank it very much, always thank it for its experience and wisdom, and off it goes. And that's one gone. That is now cleared from your frequency and resonance, and it will not come in your existence again. You understand? So it's all about non-attachment and staying out of the mind. Any thoughts, those are the most fundamental thing about this whole experience, awakening, Kundalini awakening, is to stay out of thought, the mind completely. Just try and stay in that, which means stay is to quieten the mind. Don't stimulate it and the thoughts, and just let them go. And also resistance, because people say, I don't want to be tired, or I don't want to feel bad. So we'll even judge ourselves. You'll get upset. Oh, I don't like this. I'm not. So you'll try and force it away. I'm going to be positive now. I'm going to. No. It's the same thing then. We mustn't resist, fight, or try and push, or even if the mind, like when you meditate, they teach you that. Oh, don't try and, oh no, that's a negative thought. You try and stop the thoughts, or try and force something, because that's the mind again thinking. You've got to just, okay, the mind is busy, and you'll see them going, and that's why that sound, that's why they chant, It's a resonance. It's like it's a hypnotic frequency, which puts the mind into that brain wave. That's why the is there. It's 1 or 2 hertz, and that puts the mind into the alpha. That's why the Buddhists chant. That's where the chanting comes from, the old paradigm. So whether you listen to music or frequency, that helps a lot. Because when you first start off, it takes a while, and you focus on the dot between your eyes, whatever you'll see in your mind, you'll see this dot, but then the thoughts are coming, and then the neighbor makes a noise, and this happens, and you got to try and not let anything interfere with your, you know what I mean? It's practice. And it's doing it every day. See, that's it. And staying out of the mind. When you walk, even if you walk, try and stay in that level of consciousness. So when you're walking, you're not in the mind. It's like when you're trying to meditate or like tap in, right? Same. So you got to like almost have your brain as though you permanently tapped in. I'm walking, but I'm open your crown chakra. I'm not in. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's anyway. There we are, people. So it's very difficult, you've got to go and seek that, like I did. Go and seek the real information, not what you're following in here, because that's a level also. The ET, all of these things is excitement, it's distraction, it's the ego. It's still another level. You're not even understanding what those things mean, that there is no past and present, that everything happens now. We're learning as we go. So beings are coming here to the planet. Source is using people, really. It's just source, but because we as humans see it as a person, so they'll say, oh, it's my name is whatever, so it's a being, but there's never one being. But it's source is not, it's all of us, everything anyway. But to come through to us, yeah, to help us into this new paradigm. So yeah, all those old teachings definitely have valid points, but I see a lot of new. The new one is like a new up. Whereas Abraham Hicks is coming now to tell us, no, you can be. This is what we came here to learn, how to create. We learn to master our energy, to manifest. And we actually can. But you've got to first of all get through that stage, quieten the mind, learn how to control the mind, the meditation, get through that first, and then try and start with that manifesting thing. Because we know what's going to happen. You're going to start manifesting. But that's also a lesson. You'll manifest the bad as well, because you won't realize because you're negative or whatever, doubts and things, you'll start worrying and what's going to happen, not going to happen, and it won't happen, or you're going to manifest. So you'll be worrying about the things you don't want, which look at the planets doing. They're doing a good job of it. And they're manifesting it, you know what I mean? It's like, but no, it's not. You know, the more you resist and fight and anger, you're stuck in the ego. And you're just holding that experience. But it's also good. You know, it's a choice maybe that being is learned and they're not even realizing. It doesn't matter, because then they come back in the next life and they do something else. Next life, next projection, whatever. All right. But you're coming back. And we chose this body. And when you line up with your higher self or source, you will love being alive. Your soul chose to come to this earth to live, people. It wants to freaking enjoy it. You should be walking around loving the planet. I want that ice cream, living. Not, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong. Same with the things we were taught. That's the so-called virtue and right and wrong and morals. No, absolute bollocks too. You see, if you set your own rules, but that's another thing, and we're all going to do that. So you decide, because you have your moral compass. I think that's a bad thing to do. So of course, then if you do that, it's going to be like, oh wow. But literally, if you do not believe that you're doing anything wrong, there is no what you want to call comeback or karma at all, because of your belief system. It's like being sick, you understand? It's a lot for us to adapt to. It's a huge amount for us to adapt to, because in this world there's a right and wrong, we think, right? Yes, we all one. We all know that. That aspect you know. So the whole is to do what we understand we're all connected. So we don't want to harm another. Absolutely not. We know that. Thank goodness. Because, so that's about it. You know that me, you, if I hate you, I judge you, I do anything, it's judging me. Literally. And if you're doing it, it is something in you haven't sorted out. There's a self-love issue or whatever. Insecurity or something, whatever. And you haven't fully accepted yourself, absolutely, without judgment, without love. That's what you should feel the entire planet, you see. Anyway, long waffle. I suggest you go out and start finding that, because you will see, if you stay in that frequency, your energy. People say they're tired. You will not be tired, people, because your body doesn't need sleep, it doesn't need rest like those Buddhists. People couldn't understand how they can sit there for 4 years. They don't need food. When we're in a lower energy, and we're using up our energy, but it's not being recharged, we need food and rest, the physical body, because it's just going out. When you're in the timeless space, in the quantum, in that level of consciousness, where there is no time, when you're actually out of the mind, you're staying in it. There is no, you don't. You do or not. See? You feel, and you have, it's just, there's no negative, there's nothing. It's just a state of bliss and light and energy. But you can't also bounce up and down. You've got to come back. You've got to go through that, and then you've got to come back to being a human. When you embody, when you can blend, mix with, be one with your higher self, go through that, but then actually understand you're here to play human and love it. And right now, you and your higher self, your inner being, can go out now, and now you know you are living for that part that is not physical. And you want to please, you want that, you and, it is you, basically. So you and you want to have frickin' fun together. Because when you and you are happy and in line with each other, you are happy. There's no resistance, there's no anger, there's no negative anything, no negative feelings. There's only joy, peace, and bliss when you are aligned with your higher self. So anytime now you now know, you feel any of those emotions, you know that your thoughts or what you're believing, bollocks out there, or anything you're watching, anything you're thinking about somebody else, if that feeling is not in that light, love, bliss, you know, and the more I move away, if I get angry, negative, I am very out of alignment with Source and the Divine. My inner being is telling me, no, that's not, no, don't go there. That's not the case. That's not the truth. That's not, you know what I mean? Because you are not, you see. Anyways, even me this morning, I mean, it takes time. But all I can say is, like, I've learned that lesson. I get busy again in the mind, and you've got out of that habit again. Now I've got to start getting back into that habit where I was very disciplined. And I was in such a good habit, because I was always like, I'd done a lot of work and focus on it. So staying out of the mind. But then before you realize a little bit, and the next day, and then, you know, you're back to normal, like a normal person. That mind is going, you're busy thinking, you wake up, you know. And it doesn't help if you only do it, because then you meditate for 15 minutes. And that's not going to help you. 15 minutes of the day, you are in a state of quiet. The rest of the time, you're like, the mind is busy. So it's also us to stop taking, and that's why they have retreats. And when they start off in the beginning, they go off into a mountain for 2 years and lock themselves away. So there's so they can learn to quieten the mind until they've got the hang of it before they come back into the world. You see? Because then it doesn't matter about the distractions, because they won't affect you. When you go out and you carry on with the rest of humanity, it doesn't matter. They can carry on, project and fight and carry. You will not be distracted. They will not throw you off. They will not put you out of your mind, your inner peace, because you've conquered it. You know what I mean? You've got mastery of it. We and everyone on it have learning to get mastery of it, you see, while still trying to be in a human body and live and do all this, you know what I mean? Anyway, there we are. I hope that was useful to anybody. So always think of your emotions now as a thermometer, as a gauge. Think, here's the out of alignment, there's the more darkness, the negative, whatever you want to say. There's no negative, but let's just say that's a darker side, low. That's a denser energies, away from source, away from the divine, from the one, from the wholeness, from the unity. That is the light in absolute love, unity, bliss, source. You know, you can feel it. You know, anyone taps into source, I mean, that unconditional love when you tap is just unbelievable. That bliss, that love. Right. So understand your emotions are an indicator. No, I'm going off track here. There we are. All right, lovely people. It's the blind leading the blind. I can only help you, you know, where I am. And look at me. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Didn't have a clue. And I'm still finding out. I'm trying. I'm digging around. You know, I had all these things happen to me. Nobody freaking told me. I didn't even know what a Kundalini awakening was, or what there was a Kundalini. We thought Kundalini was an energy. I thought it was going to open your third eye. Because that's what I thought. Okay, Kundalini. That means my third eye open. Because it was, but it wasn't clear then. It wasn't like crystal clear. So I was getting visions, but not really. You know, it's practice. Because I mean, I'd never used it. So I didn't know that this. And when I started rocking in my meditation and doing this, you know, it got fast. I just thought it's energy. You know, moving, whatever. It's resonance. I didn't understand, you know, what anyway of those. And I didn't understand, you know, a lot of these gifts you got in the astral. I didn't know there were different levels or whatever, what they meant, any of that shit. Who did? You know, if you got a star, you got this, you know, how many of you got that star in your meditation? You know, it looks like a 4-point, a star you receive in the astral. You got a star, you get a diamond, you get this lotus flower and all these things. Who the freaking, I mean, the East, do you see the shit going on in the East? No. Why? Because they grew up with this culture and understanding this. And when people get the Kundalini awakening and they get this, when they get in the bliss state, you know, whatever else, and they go off, some people are going to go off all extremes. I said we're going to see all kinds of variations because of this. We're going to see psychosis, we're going to see delusional, we're going to get people running around believing they're all kinds of things. You know, a lot of people believe they're Jesus already. You know, I'm Jesus. You know what I say. This is what they understand this because they've been taught this. It's in their culture. This whole Kundalini awakening path in India and in those countries. Yeah, they know it. Do you see them falling apart now? They know exactly what's going on. The West is all hell breaking loose. I mean, the shit is going on in the West because it's a Kundalini awakening. The death of the ego. They don't understand. Everyone's projecting, rioting, freaking out, going on. Blaming, looking for the ghosts, the devil, the demons, the ETs, that one's gonna, the matrix, a computer's gonna kill us. I mean, but they don't realize that you can stand here and literally they could drop a bomb around you tomorrow. It wouldn't affect you if you were in that different dimensional consciousness. You understand? You wouldn't even draw it to you. Okay. It's like you're invisible. I can't explain it. You can make yourself invisible. You literally are invisible to those people walking around there. Sometimes when you get that frequency up, I don't know, they just don't see you. Or you can intend it, I suppose, too. All right. Hope that helped you guys. Bye.